Well, hello there, everybody. A little acoustic alchemy. I love that group. So, what's going on, folks? How y'all doing? Good to see you. Allow me here to shut down one thing and put up on another. And as he hits that button, then he goes over to that button. And then that button leads to that button. So, hello, it's Monday. I hope it's a good one for you. Listen, you're alive, and that means you're prospering. Well, are we alive? They say we're alive, but I don't know if that's actually true. Um, you know, I guess it's a matter of perspective. All right, I think I got everything. Oh, this is cool. All right, so let me just get one last thing together. And there we are. Peace, folks. World needs peace, man. I mean, we need love. We need a timeout. We need a break. So much happening, and I wish I could say that this is kind of like the end. I think it's just the beginning. So we got to get our game intact. Hey, Nina, do you recognize this shirt? This is from Nina's collection. Her link is down below. And since we're coming up on the gift giving season, think about it. We got a lot of talented people here that got lots of stuff, and it's good stuff. It's stuff that you could really use like for 365 days plus. And anyway, hey, Guy and Paul, how y'all doing? David Castle, how are you? How's Rufus? Lost in Space, good to see you, Chloe. Hello, Robert V. Fantastic day be unto thee. Hey, Susie Q, good to see you. Lynn's, hello. Linda, how are you? Favor be unto you. Favor be to us all. Favor means to be empowered to prosper. Prosperity is not just financially, mentally, spiritually, physically, all things in between. So I just speak favor over all of us. I plant that seed every day because that seed is so needed today. I got to tell you, it is, wow, just a lot of heavy stuff going on in it. Yeah, it does require a certain mental aptitude, and you know what I mean. Hey, Deborah, how you doing? Deborah Truax, much love to you, dear. Good to see you. Go. Hello. I think I saw Martin and Heidi in here as well. And I know I saw Mr. David Barry. Saw him in there. So many beautiful people. Thank you for tuning in. I want to read you something. Because when you leave this hour, you're going to be inspired. That's all I got to say. All right. So allow me to read this to you. And you have to see, it's like on 3-point print. So I have this reading aid that allows me to even see that. It says, if then you do not make yourself equal to God. Now listen, all of you gods, get this in your spirit. You cannot apprehend God. For like is known by like. So many people see themselves as slaves. Guess what? The God that you have fashioned, that's how it's going to see you. So if you're not equal with God, then why would God have any interest in you? Why would you have any interest in it? You hear that? All right. Leap clear of all that is corporeal and make yourself grown to a like expanse with that greatness which is beyond all measure. Rise above all time and become eternal. Then you will apprehend God. Think that for you to nothing is impossible. Deem that you too are immortal. There's nothing impossible for us, folks. No matter how overwhelming it may look, it is a cycle. It is cyclatory. It is a circumstance. Divide the word out and you'll see what that means. We know what it means. and that you are able to grasp all things in your thought, to know every craft in science, find your home in the haunts of every living creature, make yourself higher than all heights and lower than all depths. Bring together in yourself all opposites of quality, heat and cold, dryness and fluidity. Think that you are everywhere at once, on land, at sea, and heaven. Think that you are not yet begotten, that you are in the womb, that you are young, and that you are old, that you have already died. Reality is, folks, we're already dead. If the future is the future, that future means each and every one of us have passed on. This is just a memory. It's a memory that you are living, I am living, and the great memory of all is living. We are already dead. We're already living in that to which we came from. You just been fooled to think that this is the realm of the living. Nothing lives here. Nothing lives permanently here. It's not designed that way. I continue, and that you are the world beyond the grave. Grasp in your thought all of this at once, all times and places, all substances and qualities and magnitudes together, then you can apprehend God. But if you shut up your soul in your body and abase yourself and say, I know nothing, I can do nothing, I am afraid of earth and sea, I cannot mount to the heavens, I know what I know. I know what I was, nor what I shall be. Then what have you to do with God? Now, how many of you know where that is? This is Hermes speaking, baby. This is the Hermetica. It's just what you believe. That's all I can tell you. And it's powerful stuff. We have the ability in the midst of all this chaos to create within it a sanctuary, a portal, a gateway. We have that ability. You know that. That's why you're here. And if this is your first time, well, you just got the full dose straight up. That's all I can say. Hey, Regina, what's up? Who else is all here? Hey, Ronald, good to see you. Kent and Tammy Cook, good to see you. Scott, hello, Lisa. Who else? Mr. Floyd, what's happening? Beloved Abstract, Sip, good to see you, Loretta. So, so much going on. I left a link. We have another person in need, Geneva, and her daughter, Lily, I believe. Check the link. You know, if you can spare a few, give a few. It always comes back multiple. If you plant a seed of corn, you never get a kernel of corn back. Many cases, you get like a 5,000-fold return if you add up all the different ears of corn, right? Hey, Chrissy, what's up? Good to see you as well. So I had a interesting spiritual experience on Friday. Told my wife about this. So I'm walking out of the kitchen and there is this short little hall, and I suddenly smell this perfume. Now there's no one else in the house. And it lasted about 5 seconds. And it was very distinct. As I told Lynn, it reminded me something of a different era, kind of like the 50s. It had that type of smell. And, you know, my mother, my grandparents, and other women of that day. But that was just a very interesting. And then, and I just stood and I just quieted my mind. And I know that there was a presence there. I don't know who or what, but anyway, it happens. So how are y'all digging this world, huh? I'm convinced that I think the veil is ripping apart. I think we're about to enter a time, we're already here, of a time that our ancestors were very familiar with. Hey, Shannon, what's up? Yeah, this one, I sensed it was my aunt who, I remember, and I've told this story before. It was Christmas Eve, and she was hit by a car. But I remember I was living with my grandparents in Santa Clara, and I was just a young lad of 6, and I remember her appearing right there next to me. We had bunk beds, and I slept on the top bunk, and I remembered it all my life. She told me that she would always watch over me, and that is kind of the smell. So anyway, who knows? But as I was getting to the point, our ancestors walked with the spirits. They knew them. They were well versed with them, and they knew that there were all different kinds and types. Through the spell that we've been under for the last 2,000 years, man doesn't really know much. Oh, we've got the stories, and that's why we read them here. But if you look at the mainline stories, they have been sanitized to such an extent that there's really no soul or spirit in any of it. And I think what's happened now is that there are those who walk in bodies who are empty on the inside. Not all of those people don't realize this, but we all don't come from the same place. Everyone thinks this thing. It's probably the one failings of man is that we think that we're so different on the outside, and that's how we categorize everybody. Never realizing that in the inside, it's even more complex. Deep. So anyway, spent 12 minutes all on that, huh? It's very interesting. And I got an email, and Guy, I sent you my response on that. Hey, Ginger, what's up? Good to see you. Suzanne, good to see you as well. There's a lot going on. I put on a camera, an infrared camera, mounted it and put it in where we sleep to see if anything was going on. And I can tell you we slept very soundly, and there was no one else in there but just Dancer, the dog. So, but I really do think that this is a time where we've got to begin to really get in our A game. Angels. We've got a very talented individual here, and I always love Set Knock's work. I know primarily as Nathan, but if any of you hit the link below, he is a remarkable to his. He has a website. In fact, I'll show it to you real quick. Really enjoy this gentleman. He is one of the wizards amongst us. So this is his website, as you can see, Setnock Ritual Art. He is quite, I want to show you as he pulls up the work there. So anyway, there you can go to Etsy shop. And I will show you some of the stuff that I have used over my period of knowing about this. And so give me 1 second. There we are as he gets back. Hi, folks. Did you miss me? It was a short visit. I merely went out onto the astral plane and away I was. He is a very talented man. When you order any of his work, now I identified with this fourth pinnacle of Jupiter, excuse me, the fifth pinnacle. And his work is, well, if you're looking for protection, he knows how to teach you there. And I'm just showing his work again. So he sent me, and I'll just read you. When this came in, I'm getting it framed, and I pulled it out and was rereading it because we're getting in there. So he spent, as he told me, over a year and a half. Excuse me, Wayne. Let's see. Let's get this. There we go. It's kind of odd, isn't it? Right is left, left is right. All right. There we go. Who's got vertigo at this point? And these are the back sides. I'll show you. Here we go. Now, what these two coins says here, I'll just read this to you. It says, the owner of this talisman cannot be injured, wounded, or harmed. If attacked, the foe's weapon shall turn against him. Around the 8 point of the red eye of the pentacle are the words Elohim Gabor. Elohim hath covered or protected, written in the secret alphabet of the mountain or the writing of the angels. This vehicle is from, and he gives the Psalms on that, and that would be Psalms 36, it looks like. And I mean, it's just remarkable work. Now, if some of you are having some issues with others in your family, he's got such integrity. He sent this to me, that he said he's spent well over a year to create these special coins and the cards, the angel cards that we use here. He says he's writing to me because of the passion I have for the esoteric, and I do have a passion for it. And anyway, now when you get his package, you'll have a seal on there. If you break the seal, as they used to do back in the days, when I pulled these two coins out the first time, it was a tangible presence, palatable. I mean, it came all over me. And, this is kind of stuff that you can just walk into a battle and know that you're not going to walk out with a scratch. Yeah. Bring it on, baby. You got yours? Huh, I got a lot more. So there is a package that we are expecting. So allow me, I don't usually do this, but this is a big package, I know. So talk amongst yourself. I'll only be gone for just about 3 minutes, okay? So I'll be right back. Okay, so did you miss me? I had to do that. Sorry, folks. Sometimes, that's life. This is live. I mean, no recording on this one. So anyway, there is protection. And I think that's the thing. When you, the thing, and I'll share this with everyone. Now, this is Nathan's approach on and his research and what he has said. And I have to say, I'm right in line with it. How to work with the 72 angels. This is quite interesting. And I just want to read a little bit of this, and then we're going to get into the book of B, which is a fascinating book. Wow. According to spiritual teachings, there are 72 angels who are the inhabitants of the 10 Sephiroth of the Tree of Life. The Tree of Life is a map of the universe and the psyche in order, the order of creation of the cosmos, and a path of spiritual illumination, the Kabbalistic tradition. The angels represent a pure state of consciousness of divine qualities and virtues. Each of the 72 angels has their name, seal, quality, and function, as well as is governed by particular days and times, giving personal relevance to each person who works with them. And I can tell you this, the more you work with them, the more familiar you become with them, and they become with you. I did a video a couple of years ago, and I said, do the spirits trust you? And that's a question. Would an angel trust you? Are you trustworthy enough for them to share with you maybe something that would completely revolutionize your life? I don't know. How to make pure connection with the 72 angels and start working with them? The answer is hidden in the old Hermetic law from the Emerald Tablets of Hermes that states, that which is below corresponds to that which is above, and that which is above corresponds to that which is below, to accomplish the miracles of the one thing. What's the one thing? Well, we each have our one thing. Love the movie City Slickers. Remember what Curly, the trail boss, was telling Billy Crystal? If you're unhappy in life, it's because you've lost the one thing. What is your one thing? I can't answer it for you. Nobody else can. But if you don't know that answer, I'm going to tell you what, I'd get my ass in gear and figure it out real quick. You ain't got that much time. Because you don't want someone to tell you what that one thing is for you, because it never works. This concept explains that what happens on one level of reality also happens on every other level. The microcosm and the microcosm behave a lot. Other keys to understanding this law includes symbols, a separate category of communication units that can only embody material objects representing something both material and often something immaterial. Spirits inhabit both animated and inanimated things. Have you ever heard the fact that when you're in like Hawaii and you go up to Mauna Lea, the volcano, you never, ever pick up anything. Don't you pick up a rock? Don't you pick up any lava? If you do and you take it home, I'll assure you this, you'll be sending it back. Check me out on it. The gods in Hawaii, Lynn and I were married there, and we spent quite a bit of time in the native area. And I can tell you, they're powerful. If you respect them, they'll respect you. But if you think you're going to be some fool tourist and start doing some disrespectful stuff, I can guarantee you might have a hitchhiker. By some techniques presented here, you will learn to use them as spiritual keys, the divine multidimensional principalities condensed and locked into three-dimensional talisman coins that open the gates to the now leading forces sent by the Creator to guard and help the humanity. Each symbol and each letter is a self-contained and complex principle, making up the others, binding with others, creating new ones, altogether forming a whole of the primordial principle. Don't be afraid. Rather be full of inner trust. If you have fear, walk away, because you are fresh meat for the slaughter. I mean, I used to work around horses in my youth. Loved horses. They're magnificent spirit beings. But I can tell you this, horses are psychic. They can read a person just like that. And I have seen it time and time again as a wrangler, that you have people that have this, I don't know if it's instinctual fear, but it's fear. And the horse is going to pick up on it. And we used to do trail rides, and you had to learn what horse you could put what person on. I mean, you wouldn't put a person who has a fear of horses, particularly, on a horse that's high-spirited. Never works out. All right. You are here not by coincidence. Your purpose is to awaken your conscience to the presence of the divine spark that already exists within you. You are about to connect with the 72 energetic embodiments and vibratorial expressions of the divine manifestation, love, and intelligence. So, and I can tell you, we get into his work is just incredible. As a man is, so he sees. As the eye is formed, such are its powers. God, if we could just get this. The angel holding the star, woodcut from the Durch Bachlan Gart de Roskranz Marie, the Nuremberg 1505. Now, I don't know if people have actually seen these. Now, I have seen an angel. The one I saw didn't have wings. But, I told you how the story got into the Bible. It was by a vote of 3. If the fourth person had voted against that, we would have had no angel. We had had angels with no wings. But the vote went that we do. Anyway, I'll get into this later. That's why you should check this out. I mean, it's phenomenal work, and I'm proud of it. It's something that's I have experienced personally. So let me get out of this as he goes over here, then he goes there, and then we'll get into this. Give me 1 second. Okay. I got it all queued up. He's got it queued up, man. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. All right. There we go. Chris says, belief is the most powerful force. Doesn't matter what's true. If you believe, something can come over you, strength and power. Boy, there's some wisdom. Not arguing that at all, Chris. That's spot on. That's why I appreciate, particularly that I would say the last 30, 35 years when I was in Christianity. Now, many Christians would have said I was in a cult, the name it and claim it crowd, but I was taught prosperity. I was taught what faith is, what the power of faith is. And the power of faith is above every religion. The fact the individual who understands what faith really is, they are already a God. You can talk to God. You can talk whatever that is. Yeah. Remember what I've told you. Now meaning right now faith is the evidence of things not seen, the substance of things not known, with the evidence of them. So, all right, let's see, those fire spirits. Oh, Matt, yeah. We had a chance to actually meet one of the shamans over there, and they shake their head a lot of time with these tourists. It's like, yeah, you respect them, you do. they would respect you and your house, right? Beloved abstract, you're right. Material things can come only into existence if there is an observer, the I. If we let the story of the I stop, then who is there to see the material world? It's not to say, though, that there are more worlds that yet could be seen by I, correct? I mean, the observer would only be in merely one dimension, observing one effect of one dimension. If we're multidimensional beings, then it would mean that we would have the ability to remove ourselves from one plane, one dimension, into another dimension. Don't know. Do like the conversation, though. Spock, the shaman from another planet. All right, let's get into this book a little bit more. I got into a little bit of it on Friday, and then the serious emails come in. Boy, there was a couple of them, folks, that I had to pick off with Rob and Robert and Karen and others I was going to get back to, but well, I don't disclose it all. But whew, they were heavy. Man, I'll tell you what. As an empath, when you get emails, and I don't have a problem with them, enjoy it. If I can help, I do my best. And some intense times, folks. That's all I got to tell you. There is some intense times, and there is a way to walk through this without even the smell of smoke. So, and how we do that? Well, we learn by the Gnosis. That's what we do. All right, so this is a cool book. It's called The Book of the Bee. It's a Syriac text edited from the manuscript in London and Oxford and Munich with an English translation by Ernest A. Willis, Budged, M.A., the late scholar of Christ College, Cambridge, and I think that's Triwet scholar, assisted in the Department of Egyptian and Assyrian Antiquities, British Museum, Oxford, England, at the Clarendon Press, 1886. So this is the translation. Little bit of history on here. The Book of B was discovered in, I believe it was Iraq. And as you can see, for a short little book, it has a lot of different chapters. But it is one of the most interesting stories, is all I can say. Let's see. The Book of the Bees is a Nestorian Christian sacred history. According to the Budge, it was written in about the circa 122-22 by a Syrian bishop named Solomon or Salomon. There is very little about the work itself in the preface of the edition, it being concerned primarily with the manuscript sources. In the introduction to the Book of the Cave of Treasures, we've covered this, we may do it again. It is from the Apocrypha. The Cave of Treasures, by the way, is where Adam and Eve lived. That's what it was called. And the one gift that I believe it was Michael gave was one particular plant from paradise. Anyway, I digress. That's a different book. Budge says that Solomon's object in writing the Book of B was to present a full history of the Christian dispensation according to the Nestorians. Underlines represents brief short markings of the vowels and what have you. So let's get into a little bit more. If you want it, I'll send it to you. But then you can. Now, here's my suspicion is that, again, when most people are introduced into a religion, you accept it at face value. And we know now that Lord is a title, it's a position. Lord also means Baal, B-A-A-L. As far as Jesus is concerned, Jesus is not Jesus Christ, but that's how the world perceives it. So we begin with the writing. He gets into an apology, goes all the way back through this history of the religion itself, and you find out that it is a much different reality than what most people have been taught. But then again, this guy came from a time when basically Rome ruled what God was. Rome defined what God was. Rome defined what God's ability was, along with what his subjects were. And that's how it works. So we had gotten into heaven. We'd gotten into about the angels, complex structure. If you missed it, go back to Friday, because it's remarkable to see where the knowledge is taking us. All right. So we found out that darkness, by the way, is a self-existent nature. If it had not been a nature, it would not have been recognized among the seven natures which were created in the beginning in silence. So this is another thing. So if an observer, how could a being speak if there's nothing there to hear it? Don't know. We talked about the firmament, and now we're here to chapter 9, the creation of the trees and planets, which is quite interesting. On the third day, God commanded that the waters should be gathered together into the pits and depths of the earth. Strange verbiage here. The vernacular is very different from ours, and that the dry land should appear. When the waters were gathered together into the depths of the earth, the mountains and hills had appeared. Just like that. God placed the sand as a limit for the water of the seas, that they might not pass over and cover the earth. And God commanded the earth to put forth herbage and grass and every green thing. Complex. I mean, you stop and think about it. So a single being came up with how many different fauna is there? I mean, I couldn't even begin to guess. Yeah. Okay. And the earth brought forth the trees and the herbs, the plants of all kinds. Isn't it interesting? It wasn't a God that did this. It was the earth. There was a time where I lived in Missouri, and I swear the ground in Missouri grew rocks. You know, no matter how much work I did in the yard, I could come out the next week and there was a rock coming up through the ground. It's almost like, if you were putting nails in there, Some say that before the transgression of the command, the earth brought forth neither thorns nor bars, and that even the rose had no thorns as it is now. But after the transgression of the command, the earth put forth thorns and bars by reason of the curse which it had received. Now, this is my problem with this whole demiurge. He cursed the earth. This is heavy. This is deep. It's as if we and the earth have this mutual bond because we've both been cursed by this being. And the curse, when it matured, brought forth death. So I don't dig this cat. I mean, I don't deny that it may or may not exist, but my attitude is, hey, I don't want anything to do with you. You do your thing. I'll be out here in the cosmos with the others. Thank you very much. The reason why God created the trees and plants before the creation of the luminaries was that the philosophers whose discourse on natural phenomenon might not imagine that the earth brought forth herbs and trees through the power of the heat of the sun. Concerning the making of paradise, it is not mentioned in the Pentateuch on which day it was created, but according to the opinion of those who may rely upon, it was made on the same day in which the trees were made. And if the Lord will, we will speak about it in its proper place. Now, my question is, where in the freak are the dinosaurs? I mean, here's my thought on why the dinosaurs were here. They tilled the soil of the land. They crapped enough to fertilize the land for the next million years. Just a different point of view. The making of the luminaries. On the fourth day, God made the luminaries, the sun, the moon, and the stars of three substances, air, light, and fire. Okay. He took aerial material and prepared vessels like lamps, and mixed fire with light and filled them. Do you ever get the idea sometimes that you feel like you're being talked down to? I mean, here we read, and I'm looking at this, and, a person living in the 21st century will have fire. Fire represents many different things. It can be as simple as the combustion of carbon, or it can be as complex as light. And that's what it says. Mix fire with light and fill them. I mean, couldn't God have explained this a little bit more? Couldn't he have given us the chemistry, or I guess we had to figure that out? Okay. And because in the nature of fire, there was no light. Now that's odd. Nor heat in that light. Well, that's a different type of fire then, isn't it? A fire and it has no light, no heat in that light. The fire imparted heat to the light, and the light gave luminosity to the fire. And from there, these two were the luminaries, the sun, the moon, and the stars fabricated. It's true. I mean, very basically, it is true. Some say that the luminaries were made in the morning, and that the sun was placed in the east and the moon in the west, while others say that they were made in the evening and that the sun was placed in the west and the moon is in the east. And therefore, the Jews celebrate the 14th in the evening. Others say that the luminaries, when they were created, were placed in the east. The sun completed his course by day, while the moon waited until eventide and then began her course. And then we have, obviously, the duality here, his, her. Lilith, one could say. The path of the luminaries is beneath the firmament, and they are not fixed as men have foolishly stated, but the angels guide them. Isaac says, the sun performs his course from the east to the west and goes behind the lofty northern mountains the whole night until he rises in the east. And the philosopher says that during the night, the luminaries perform their course under the earth. Where have we read that before? Just saying. Moving on. Chapter 10, the creation of sea monsters, fish, wing-fowl, and reptiles that are in the seas. On the 5th day of the week, God made from the waters mighty sea monsters, fish, winged fowl, swimming beast, and the reptiles that are in the seas. He created the winged fowl that are in the waters from the waters. For like fish, they lay eggs and swim. Now fish swim in the waters and winged fowl in the air, but some of the latter in the waters also. Although they say that swimming creatures were made from the waters, or that the other wild beasts and cattle were made from the earth, they still consist of parts of all the other elements. Those, however, that are of the waters have the greater part of their composition made of water, while the greater parts of those whose origin is earth consist of earth, but none of them lack the four elements. I love this stuff. The creation of beasts and animals. On Friday evening, by the way, party time, God created them, and therefore animals can see at night as well as in the daytime. Hadn't thought about that. Others say that they were all created in the morning and that God created Adam after them on the sixth day, which is Friday. I often wonder, did the Sumerians have the same days? Don't know. Don't think so, but they did have 7. On the Friday, this is the formation of Adam. Okay, now we're going to get to the good stuff, huh? On the Friday, after making all created things, God said, "Come, let us make man in our image and in our likeness." That's why Lucifer calls us an image. The Jews have interpreted the expression "come, let us make" as referring to the angels, though God, adored by his glory, needs not help from his creatures. But the expositors of the church indicate the persons of the adorable Trinity, which is impossible, but anyway. Some say that when God said, "Come, let us make man in our image and in our likeness," the angels, by the eye of the Spirit, saw the right hand of God spread out over the whole world. And there were in parts all of the creatures, both spiritual and corporeal. And God took from these parts and fashioned Adam with his holy hands and breathed into him the breath of life. And man became a living soul. No spirit, soul. Others say that God took earth from the 4 quarters of the world and formed Adam outside paradise, while others say that God fashioned him in the middle of the earth, on the spot where our Lord was crucified, and that there also was Adam's skull laid. Golgotha? After God had formed Adam outside paradise, he brought him in as a king and made him king over all the creatures and commanded him to give a name to each of them. God did not gather together unto Adam all cattle, nor all that swam in the sea, nor all the birds of the air, that he might give them names, but he received dominion and power over them to make use of them as he pleased, and to give them names as a master to his slaves. I ain't liking this setup at all, because it's a setup. We became that which we thought we were ruling over, only to be ruled. And when God had brought him into paradise, he commanded him to till it and to guard it. Why did God say to till it and to guard it? For paradise needed no guarding and was adorned with fruit of all kinds, and there was none to injure it, unless it were to exhort him to keep commandments. Well, this is getting a bad rap. I mean, come on, folks. Adam was no king. He thought so, but and to till it, that he might not become a lover of idleness. Wow. A lover of idleness. So you spend your 70, 80 years here on this planet, working your ass off in taxes, being a slave, but this is the way it's always been. Because Adam had not seen his own formation and was not acquainted with the power of his maker. It was necessary that, when Eve was taken from him in his own likeness, he should perceive his maker and should acknowledge that he who made Eve also made him, and that they two were bound to be obedient to him. I don't know about you, but this totally sucks. What does Isaiah 1:19 say? Obedience is better than sacrifice, huh? Yikes. Now, concerning the making of Eve, God said, let us make a helper for Adam. And he threw upon Adam a sleep and a stupor, and took one of his ribs from his left side and put flesh in its place. And on it he formed Eve. He did not make her of earth, that she might not be considered something alien to him in nature. That's interesting. And he did not take her from Adam's foreparts, that she might not uplift herself against him, nor from his hind parts, that she might not be accounted despicable, nor from his right side, that she might not have preeminence over him, nor from his head, that she might not seek authority over him, nor from his feet, that she might not be trodden down and scorned in the eyes of her husband. But he took her from his left side. For that the left side, is the place which unites and joins both front and back. Concerning the sleep which God cast upon Adam, he made him to be half asleep and half awake, that he might not feel pain when the rib was taken from him, and look upon the woman as a hateful thing, and yet not without pain, that he might not think that she was not met for him in matters of nature. When Adam came to himself, he prophesied and said, this is my bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. This shall be called woman. And they were both clothed in light and saw not each other's nakedness. Where did we read that? The book. Coincidences everywhere. So what's this place called paradise? This is interesting. I mean, it's somewhat similar, but it's a lot different too. In the eastern part of the earth, on the mountain of Eden, how many of you thought that Eden was what? A mountain? Beyond the ocean, God planted paradise. So paradise means two coming together, and adorned it with fruit-bearing trees of all kinds. What kind of fruit does God eat? What kind of fruit does a God eat? I mean, I don't think what we have today is what they ate back then. Anyway, of all kinds, that it might be a dwelling place for Adam and his progeny, if they should keep his commandments. The list with this God always gets bigger. He made to spring forth from it a great river, which was part of the four heads of the water paradise and the whole earth. The first river is Pishon, which composes of the land of Havilah, where there is gold and beryls and fair and precious stones. The second river is Gihon, that is the Nile of Egypt. The third river, is the Tigris, which travels through the land of Assyria to Beth Sadal. The fourth river is the Euphrates, which flows through the middle of the earth. Why would a river flow through the middle of the earth? Could there be something down there, maybe? Some teachers say that paradise surrounds the whole earth like a wall and a hedge beyond the ocean. Others say that it was placed upon the Mount of Eden, higher than every other mountain in the world by 15 cubits. Others say that it was a place between heaven and earth, below the firmament and above this earth, and that God placed it there as a boundary for Adam between heaven and earth, so that if he kept his commandments, he might lift him up to heaven. Remember, this is the second heaven in the third dimension. But if he transgressed them, he might cast him down to this earth. Now, let's just stop right there. So if this is all-knowing being, he knew that this was going to fail to begin with. That's the paradox here. I mean, so again, it's the slave master mentality. I'll reward you if you obey me, but I'm going to kick your ass if you disobey me. It's a no-win game. You can't win in that. You can't advance. The only place you can go is go down. That's what happened. And as the land of heaven is better and more excellent than the land of paradise, so this is saying that this is a physical place. It has physical land. It's better than this land, even than that of paradise. So we're more beautiful. So was the land of paradise better and more glorious and more excellent than earth. Its trees were more beautiful, its flowers more odorous, and its atmosphere more pure than ours. Well, that would have a genetic effect upon a living creature, wouldn't it? If you change the atmosphere, the elements of the atmosphere, pressure, chemicals, et cetera, well, eventually that would affect the DNA structure, right? Yeah, I think so. God made paradise large enough to be the dwelling place of Adam and his posterity, provided that they kept the divine commandments. Now it is the dwelling place of the souls of the righteous, and its keepers are Enoch and Elijah. Elijah, the unwed, Enoch, the married man, that the unwedded may not exalt themselves above the married, as if, forsooth, paradise were suitable for the unwed only. Didn't we hear somewhere they don't have sex in heaven in the next life, right? So if you've taken Enoch, who knew of a woman, didn't make him a eunuch, did they? I don't think so. I don't know. But isn't that odd? So that's where all the righteous spirits are at. Okay. Paradise, the souls of sinners are without paradise and in a deep place called Eden. After the resurrection, the souls of the righteous and the sinners will put on their bodies. The righteous will enter into heaven, which will become the land of the righteous, while the sinners will remain upon earth. The tree of good and evil that was in paradise did not by nature possess these properties of good and evil like rational beings, but only through the deeds which was wrought by its means, like the well of contention and the heap of a witness, which did not possess these properties naturally, but only through the deeds which were wrought by their means. Adam and Eve were not stripped of the glory which they were clothed, nor did they die the death of sin, because they desired and ate of the fruit of the fig tree. The fig tree, okay, there we go. For the fruit of the fig tree is not better than the fruit of any other tree. But because of the transgression of the law, in that they were presumptuous and wished to become gods, on account of this foolish and wicked and blasphemous intention, chastisement and penalty overtook them. Concerning the tree of life, which was planted in the middle of paradise, some have said that paradise is the mind, that the tree of good and evil is the knowledge of material things, and that the tree of life is the knowledge of divine things, which were not profitable to the simple understanding of Adam. Well, if the guy could figure out the scars and figure out, astronomy and the sciences, are you telling me he couldn't apprehend this basic concept? Others have said that the tree of life is the kingdom of heaven and the joy of the world to come. And others that the tree of life was a tree in very truth, which was set in the middle of paradise. But no man has ever found out what its fruit or its flower or its nature was like. Wow. Oh, you got to love this. Is eschatology. I mean, I definitely would say this is advanced course. Oh, man. Okay. Oh, hell, we could go on with this. We are. I mean, you can't help but not have the similarity and a sense of familiarity in this book. This little book, I mean, it's a brain tickler, no doubt about it. Okay, I like the idea that the tree of life would be within us. Why wouldn't it be? Come to think about it, it would be probably the most natural place. I don't know. Tell me what you think. I like it. I like it. Tomorrow we got Miss Trina on. Second look. And I know this week we have holiday here in America on Thursday, so I won't be doing a show. But I hope everyone, no matter where you are, I just want to speak a word out to Gaza. Brother, we love you. This is Gaza is a man of much integrity. He's an honorable man. Him and his wife and his family are good people. And it's an honor to have such people like Gaza a part of us. And I know that there's others around the world that are facing really difficult times. And I'm trying to tell all of you, we are with you. And there is help in these beings. They're not make-believe. They've existed way before us, and they've always interacted with us in many different forms, in many different lights, in many different names. But they can do things that mortal man and women cannot do. They can influence their minds. They can influence their emotions. Think about that. Hey, Martin Havey. Thank you. Well, Martin, yes, I shall, but I'll be here, baking. That's what I'm going to be doing on Wednesday. I'd love to bake. Hello, Jules. We love you, darling. We love you. And thank you for all your gifts and talent, Jules. You have taught us so much. And it's an honor, again, so many beings of such integrity. It's wonderful. So here we are. We'll be here tomorrow. And I just speak favor all of us. We need love. I dearly speak out this, that the rhetoric that is being pumped into the world would stop. This division of hate, this division of division for division purpose only has got to stop, because it's doing exactly what it's being spoken. We have a more powerful force. Each and every one of us, by me speaking one word, outdoes a million of those other voices. So thank you, Linda. Much love to you. Hey, Marie, how you doing, hon? Are you healing pretty good? Let me know, please. Violet Brian, we're going to do a show. Want to do a show with you. So we got to get together. Little Red Hayes, thank you. Dave Sullivan, peace. Thomas, HBI. Book of the Bee. I think that just goes right in there. Hello, Teresa. Have fun stuffing the bird. I'm the baker, Lynn does that. Everyone, make this week a joyful week. I mean, let's counter this negative energy. We're a part of this, and we can change this whole vibe. And I'm right there with Ringo. Let's start speaking peace and love again. Let's bring back the peace symbol. There we go. What was that one? Well, live long and prosperous. But seriously, we need to bring joy back, some laughter. And, Francis, I'm thinking of you as well. Speaking peace with you, my friend. It's, folks. All right. Got to go. See y'all tomorrow. Smile and the world will smile with you. That's the thing to do. All right. Much love. Peace. I like what Ringo says. And it's so, I read recently, I'll just digress here a second. He said, if we would just start speaking this every day, first thing in the morning, I speak love and peace across the world. I can do that. I'm already speaking favor all over myself and all of the rest of the tribe. So I'm going to start doing that. I'm going to start speaking love and peace over the world. And let's just tone down the fear. Wow. Tone it down. All right, folks. Be good and love yourself.